By the time the average millennial turns 45, they'll have quietly lost over $500,000. Not to a scam, not to a bad investment, but to 10 decisions that felt completely normal at the time. And look, you're not careless. You've got a budget app. You check your bank balance more than you check your texts. You skip the daily coffee sometimes, get it, or at least think about it. You even put a little into a 401k because someone once told you to. But somehow the math never adds up the way it's supposed to. Rent eats more than it should. Savings grow slower than they're supposed to. And retirement still feels like a rumor someone told you about a long time ago. That gap you feel between what you earn and what you actually keep. It's not random, and it's not your fault, mostly, but it is fixable. Here's what nobody tells you. Most financial advice out there was built for a world that stopped existing decades ago. A world with pensions, cheap housing, and jobs that actually kept up with inflation. Following 1995 rules in a 2026 economy doesn't just fail to help. It actively hides the traps that are draining you right now. So let's name every single one of them. Think of your money like water running through a pipe with 10 tiny holes drilled into it. No single hole destroys you. You barely even notice each one. But together, the pipe runs dry before the water gets anywhere useful. Hole 1, lifestyle creep. Every raise quietly becomes a nicer apartment, a better car, a slightly more expensive grocery habit. Your income doubles over 10 years and your savings rate stays exactly the same. The raise never had a chance. Hole 2, subscription bloat. The average person is actively paying for at least 3 services they completely forgot exist. Each one feels trivial. Add them up across a decade and compound what that money could have grown into. That's a down payment you'll never make. Hole 3, the so-called safe savings account. Money sitting at 0.4% interest while inflation quietly runs at 3% isn't being saved. It's being eroded. Every single day, just slowly enough that you don't feel it. Hole 4, minimum payments. Credit card debt at 22% interest doesn't just cost you what you borrowed, it can cost you double that before it's cleared. And minimum payments are specifically designed to stretch that timeline out as long as possible. But here's where it gets interesting, because the next 3 aren't about spending at all. They're about waiting. Hole 5, delaying retirement contributions in your 20s. 10 years of compounding started at 25 is worth more than 20 years started at 35. The math on that isn't even close. Hole 6, renting longer than planned without redirecting the difference. If you're not actively investing the gap between what you'd pay in rent versus ownership costs, you're not savings. You're just spending in a different format. Hole 7, career stagnation. Staying in a comfortable job while your skills quietly become less relevant is a pay cut. You just haven't been officially notified yet. Now the big 3, the ones that make every other hole worse. Hole 8, no emergency fund, 1 bad month, a layoff, a medical bill, a car that died, and you're breaking investments or piling onto debt, wiping out years of progress in 30 days. Hole 9, never actively building income skills. Inflation eats your raises before you even feel them. The only reliable answer is to become more valuable than inflation. And hole 10, the biggest one, never tracking any of this at all, because you can't patch what you can't see. But here's what happens the moment you patch even just one hole. Take Sarah, 32, making $68,000 a year. She didn't get a promotion, didn't change jobs. She canceled $43 a month in subscriptions she'd forgotten about and moved her savings into a high yield account, paying 4.5% instead of 0.4%. That's the entire change. Over 20 years with basic compounding, that single move quietly returns roughly $31,000 she would have otherwise just leaked away. Unnoticed, uncollected, gone. Now, imagine patching 3 holes, or 5. The number stops being $31,000 and starts becoming something that actually changes your life. That $500,000 figure from the start? It's not one disaster. It's 10 small leaks running silently for 20 years. The good news is leaks are fixable once you can actually see them. So here's the only thing you need to do today. Pick the one hole that hit closest to home and patch just that one first. Because next time, we're going to talk about the one trap that's actually designed to look like a brilliant financial decision. And it might be the one you're currently most proud of.